bitch, we're back. Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Fourth and Trollers, welcome back to Fourth and Troll Fantasy, the most entertaining fantasy football podcast on the planet. And my name is Noah Selby.
And I'm Xavier Worthy's son, Wes Selby.
And I'm like a stepchild, dude. Like I'm like a stepchild. Sorry, nothing against stepchildren. If that was like what we were. I don't like
this is.
I like outcast anyone in the audience.
This is a biological children show only.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And listen, we got a good show for you guys today. Football is back, and we are here. We're talking about some good things, including Thursday night football and all the goodness that went down at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City with the Chiefs coming out on top over the Baltimore Ravens. And what was a great game, Wes. Great
barely
game. I thought great game.
If
a lot of
I
things
thought so
a lot of things we learned and things to talk about. So stick around for that. We're going to discuss the future of Mark Andrews, because what was that? What's going on here? This is just bananas. And of course, we've got some studs and duds for you for week one. We're going into studs and duds. We're back and better than ever with studs and duds. New and improved, by the way, talking about a few more people than we usually would, giving you guys a stud and a dud from each skill position. So you don't want to miss that either. I'm particularly excited to talk about my my stud quarterback. So it's going to be a fun time. Before we jump into it all, follow us on all our social media. It is linked down below. You can join our Discord community and get some exclusive merch over on our Patreon, patreon.com/fourthandtrollfantasy. Got a lot of fun stuff going on over there and in the Discord community. It's going to be a good time. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. I think I hit it all. Wes, we have some news to talk about.
Sure did. Oh, weekly rankings on our Discord as well. Weekly rankings.
That too. Yeah.
Yes.
For the first time ever, we are
if you
giving
do
weekly
join
rankings,
our Discord.
And you got essentially just a hotline channel right there to be able to ask us any start-sit questions, any sort of stuff like that. So it's always a fun time over in the Discord community. Join us there.
All right. Here's what we got for the news. Couple of good, important details, but pretty light going into week one. Trent Williams. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to hear this. Signed a 3-year, $82 million deal. That is done. He will be there week one. Now, but Christian McCaffrey, he did return to practice and he was listed with a calf/Achilles injury on the report. That Achilles is sneaking back into his life, and I hate it. I was worried, but Trent Williams makes that much easier. We'll just pray and hope until... Anyway, okay, Kyle Pitts. Been a while since he's been on the injury report. Well, why not? Right before the week. Go ahead. Here you go. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. He did return to practice in full on Thursday. Should be good week one, but just keep an eye on that. Jamar Chase, he returned. He practiced in full uniform on Wednesday. You keep an eye on him. If you have him, of course you will, but we'll see exactly what it looks like in week one. I'm sure he'll play. Russell Wilson is also dealing with calf tightness. He's gone to a doctor to have it checked out. By the time you listen, you may know more information. You may have to go stash Justin Fields on your roster. Who knows? Keep an eye on that. For any George Pickens truthers, even though we told you he was going to be a bust. Josh Downs has still not returned to practice due to his foot injury, and he's doubtful for week one. Justin Herbert returned in full, good to go for week one. And a little bit of fantasy football news. Titans offensive coordinator Nick Holtz confirmed the backfield this season is going to be split 50-50. Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, 50 down the middle. Go get Tajay Spears from somebody if they don't already know what's going on. That's it for the news. Let's go recap what happened last night between the Ravens and the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs on the way to a three-peat.
Three-peat confirmed, dude. Undefeated. Way to go.
Yeah.
Listen, what a game. That was a lot of fun, even though it took
good one.
forever. Just to acknowledge, I feel like we don't acknowledge the refs very often, Wes.
Only
they were
if it
really
gyps
hammering
us
home
fancy.
that whole illegal formation penalty.
Yeah.
Holy crap. But it only seemed like it was for the Ravens at most times. It felt...
Well, you kind of foreshadowed that.
I kind of foreshadowed with the thumbnail, not going to lie, the last episode. But I think that was really interesting. It's definitely something people are going to have to keep in account. I don't know. It was like, dude, what about Ronnie Stanley can't get off the line to I don't know. That was weird.
I
Anyway,
don't know either.
yeah, let's talk about it. Chiefs come out on top. Let's talk about them first. We had a little conversation last time we were meeting, Wes, about a certain
Yeah.
young rookie wide receiver, um,
Yes.
and about how, man, you told us it's risky. I get it. I get the appeal. I get it. It's risky, but I don't like it. It's too risky for week one. It's too risky for the first potential points of your fantasy season to just throw it all away. To just here we go. Here we go. This is it. And
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, I mean, what the hell, Xavier Worthy? Okay, I mean, I guess we listen. We both love the guy. He was like
Yes.
my third, my fourth wide receiver in the class. Obviously, the landing spots ended up being great. We're all very excited about it.
They traded for him too. So
Yeah, traded up to get him.
this wasn't a sneaky play.
Really,
Well,
really
let's.
exciting usage. There seemed to
Yes.
be at least his first touch in the NFL seemed to be fun on a
Right.
designed fake counter reverse that he brought around for 20 yards that my sister, who I'm playing in fantasy this week in one of the leagues that we're all in together,
Okay.
was like, T. Higgins is questionable. So I put in Xavier Worthy, and I was like, no, no,
Oh.
no. I was like, wait, no, questionable on Thursday is like, you're good, like you'll be okay. T. Higgins will play, and then he does that, and she's like, yeah, and I was like,
Oh,
I was
piss
like,
off, bruv.
yeah, I was
What
like,
a
so,
cheater. You mentioned usage.
yeah,
Give us the stat line because this is what we're going to dissect here because,
right,
of course, this is the risk of Xavier Worthy.
right. Three targets. He had an 11% target share, and that was it. Three targets. That's not great for fantasy football. That's not great for efficiency's sake. He's going to have to be ultra efficient to continue this, but we know he's that big play type of player. So
Sure.
that's all well. That's fine. My thing is, I I don't know, dude. I might just have to eat crow on this. Like, I was like, don't start him. It's not worth the risk. And if they're going to design plays like that for him near the red zone, like, yeah, it won't surprise me if he ends this season with like 6 rushing touchdowns.
It's entirely possible, and he has he has the upside of Andy Reid's creativity. But let's just maneuver over to the other wide receiver for the Chiefs, who I find very sustainable.
Oh,
He was our must
yeah,
start, and I'm
yeah,
very happy with this result.
yeah. Rashee Rice was awesome. I think from the first play, it was like, oh,
Oh,
he is
so
going to be
quick!
so
Gah!
involved, dude. Like the fake counter, full turnaround from Mahomes, and just fired it in on the slant to Rice was just like, from that moment, I was like, oh, we're so back, dude. We're so back. Like, he is the
Fantastic.
guy that he was when we saw him for the second half of last year. I'm really excited about him. I'm so crushed that I have him in one league, but where I already have Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, and Mike Evans before him. So I'm like, well, one of those
Mm.
guys getting traded because I got to get Rashee Rice in the lineup. Like, there's no way I can't. So if somebody in that league wants to trade for Mike Evans, let me know. But yeah,
Oh.
Rashee Rice is absolutely the guy. I think. Listen, this is bold. This is big to say this,
Oh, let's do it. Week
but I
one,
think
bold
it's
takes,
so,
absolutely.
dude. I think it's so true. I I think Rashee Rice is the new top target in that offense, and I don't mean in that wide receiver room. I mean in that offense. Like, I believe
Oh,
Rashee Rice
over
will end the
Kelsey.
season with more targets than Travis Kelsey. He the usage is extremely similar. They're used in very similar ways of like the short and intermediate kind of routes, that kind of scenario, those kinds of things. That's where he thrives. And you come in and he's just more, he's a younger, better player, and that's just what it is. Like, that's just how it goes. And so I don't know. Am I crazy, or is it like, I think we'll end this season looking at Rashee Rice being the most targeted pass catcher in this offense.
The takeaway I get is that Rashee Rice has the chance to be top 15, top 20 for
Sure.
sure. I think
Absolutely.
you and I have been looking at this saying like that as the offseason's gone on, we've been talking about Rashee Rice being someone that we can actually go draft and get. And there's a chance that he's going to get into that top 15 upside. Of course, this is week one. We're going to find out what happens more with
Absolutely.
Kelsey throughout the season. But I'm not worried about Kelsey. I'm not worried about Travis Kelsey. He had big
No.
plays. And as far as how the
Yeah.
game went, he had big plays. Don't worry. Sorry, you probably didn't win. Probably not going to win your week. Maybe. Who knows who else you drafted, but
3 for
rough start for
34.
Travis
It's like
Kelsey.
6.5 points. Yeah, it's not great.
And they were contextually good plays, important offensive production from Kelsey. So
big time.
but I hear what you're saying. Rashee Rice is probably going to be top 20, very close to top 15, and Xavier Worthy is going to be one of the most dangerous and exciting boomer bust players of the season.
Yeah. Dude, what if it's not like boom or bust with him? What if they are like,
What if he's
we
boom?
got the Tyreek Hill factor back? Like, we got the Tyreek Hill factor back. Like, what if he is just that guy?
Then I should have drafted Xavier Worthy and Devon Achane. And I just roll them out, and my only 2 players in my fantasy team, and I'll win.
And then you score 140 points each week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, so exciting stuff there for the Chiefs skill players, as well as Isaiah Pacheco. Really good stuff for him. He was my risky start. I was a little worried about the PPR upside with Samaje Perine coming in there and still actually being out there for a handful of number of snaps, actually, which is what I projected. But yeah, I think he had a good night. 15 points, 15.8. You're excited. You're happy with that from your RB2, maybe your RB1. I don't know if he's your RB1 or not, but good stuff. Good opportunity, 18 opportunities in the game. He's still an integral part of the offense. And the most encouraging thing I saw was in these kind of like 2-minute scenarios. I don't know if it was just because Samaje Perine is newer to the team, but it was Pacheco out there. Like it really was. It was
Oh,
like
he was
Andy Reid
dominating.
stands on business. Like he told us Isaiah Pacheco has gained the opportunity and the credibility to be able to be the 3-down guy, and he was. So exciting stuff there. Mahomes gives you 17 points. It's fine. I don't know. I'm not going to read too much into it in a game like this where it was kind of back and forth, and it didn't really feel like either of these offenses really gained a ton of momentum at any given point. So it was kind of just a back and forth here.
Their first drives were both good, but outside of that,
yeah. So that's it for the winners of the game. Let's jump over to the losers because there are some fun things to talk about here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start it out. Should we make them wait, or should we start out hot?
Yeah, because they didn't know this too. They should know this.
This is important things to know. Shiny new running back Derrick Henry there in Baltimore. Shining young man, old man. Not even the RB1 on his team? Question mark? Hello? He had less snaps than Justice Hill. Which, dude, you and I are co-managing this content creators league. And after the draft, I messaged you and I went, hey, I think we're kind of okay at wide receiver. You cool if I go pick up Justice Hill? I think we might actually I think he's gonna have a real role in this offense, like truthfully. And you're like, yeah, go for it. Yeah, that sounds good. And I watch this game and I'm like, you're damn right, dude. Here we it's legitimate. It's listen, Henry obviously is the guy you wanna roster, you wanna own, but Justice Hill, don't be surprised. Maybe don't sleep on the Thursday night performers when it comes to the waiver wire on Tuesday, okay? Because Justice Hill should be rostered. I'm going to say that right now. He had 8 targets.
That's crazy.
Second most targeted player on the team, behind Isaiah Likely, who we're going to talk about in just a second. So Justice Hill needs to be rostered, and 11.5 fantasy points from a guy who was like less than 12% rostered on Sleeper before the game started. That's going to skyrocket. When Lamar was in trouble, he checked down. Justice Hill's always been kind of that guy who's kind of sticks around here and there and stuff like that. So I think he's worth rostering. Get him on your team. You're not going to feel the confidence at starting, but obviously that if something happens to Derrick Henry, they have a lot of trust in Justice Hill. And if you need a bye week flyer and you don't want to have to drop anybody or pick anybody up, you have Justice Hill on your team. So I think he's worth talking about there. do we need to talk about Zay Flowers?
He
We
had 10
probably shouldn't.
targets.
10
10 targets
targets.
is pretty impressive and a
10
really
targets.
weak fantasy output with 10 targets. But yeah, Lamar Jackson really likes him. Really likes
Yeah.
him.
I'd love
Wants
for
to
more
go to
targets
him.
past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
That'd be fun. Can we like chill on the screens? God, what's his name? What's that stupid offensive coordinator's name?
Which
Oh
guy?
man.
Arthur Smith?
Oh no, hang on. We made fun of him all the time, and I can't remember it.
Todd Monken?
Todd Monken, dude.
Oh yeah,
Todd
there it is.
Monken, dude. Pluck out another brain cell and quit calling screenplays. All right, dude. Like, come on. Give Zay Flowers some targets and like some opportunities down the field. My goodness, we saw a couple of them, and they were
had
nice.
A couple, but
yeah. I'm still under the impression that Lamar Jackson isn't going to produce a top 24 wide receiver. So, we didn't draft him. If you did,
no,
you might be feeling fine. But I think this is probably the more average of where things might end up is like 5 catches for 50 yards, and he'll score a touchdown here and there, like, and that'll happen. Like that will.
Yeah.
And he'll have some boom games, but he's a fun guy to watch play. I forgot that about Zay Flowers. That's my thing. Is I was so really out on him throughout the offseason, and I watched him. I was watching him play again that I was like, oh yeah, it is fun to like root for him and like watch him like kind of do some shiftiness and stuff like that. So, listen, the time has come. What the hell is going on in the tight end room in Baltimore? I mean,
oh man.
All right. Like what? Like okay. So here, you go ahead, Wes, because you
want me to start?
Had some, okay. Yeah, you had some foresight on this through the offseason. And we had some good discussions our debate episode was heavily about Mark Andrews.
It was. And, we included him in the thumbnail because yeah. And I'll lead off by saying this. I'm not concerned about Mark Andrews falling out of the top 10 because he's too important of a player in Lamar Jackson's history in his career. However, the concern I had was that Derrick Henry was going to take away too much of it was going to be another cook in the kitchen. Zay Flowers was going to begin to blossom more as a wide receiver. He's going to take a bigger leap. And Isaiah Likely was going to be involved in this offense. And we've already missed one mark by saying Xavier Worthy was too risky of a start. I said Isaiah Likely should not be started because we should wait to see what he does Thursday night against the Chiefs to determine his actual role in the offense. Okay, so start him, I think.
So what is his role in the offense? Yeah.
We're like, probably at that point where we actually need to consider is he is starting tight end because it's not just that he caught the red zone touchdowns. He had deep targets. He had
12
chain
targets.
Moving, and then just 12 targets is unbelievable. 111 yards, and it wasn't just the one
run
play.
After the catch on his touchdown. Like
really,
like it was
really. He was a toe, one big toe away from having a 35-point game.
Yeah,
that is unreal.
Yeah,
we have to actually consider 2 Ravens finishing in the top 10s for the tight end position when you start out like that. I'm not even kidding.
No, we do. It's genuinely we do. And I think there's a piece of this that is like we always knew Isaiah Likely was a very talented dude.
Yeah,
he just never saw the opportunity outside of Mark Andrews getting hurt. And when he would come in and be the guy for that offense, he'd be great. He'd be like a top easily like usually like a safe like top 8 tight end on a week. Like, but I remember you saying to me early in the offseason that there's a genuine chance that they saw really good things that they liked from Isaiah Likely to the point where he now they utilize both these guys. Well, they surely utilize Isaiah Likely.
Yeah. Now,
Mark Andrews had 2 targets. Like that's where my concern lies. I know we don't want to overreact. I know it's week 1. I don't think I'm gonna like panic sell Mark Andrews,
I
but
don't
like
think you need to.
but like in a big game against the Chiefs,
He went
it's a
to,
good
let me
defense,
just, yeah,
but
Lamar Jackson targeted
2
Isaiah
targets.
Likely back-to-back plays to win the game. I like Likely got hurt. He made contact with the ground, took a play off because he he like leapt
But
45 feet
yeah,
in the air to make this catch, and he didn't come down with it. And then he took a play off, and they came back in, and then he threw it and Likely caught it, and he was one big toe away from at least scoring a touchdown. They were going to try to go for 2, but here's one thing I want to just reassure Mark Andrews owners, including ourselves, in one league that we have him together, Noah. He is still recovering from an injury. It's been a long time, but this can take that long. So they may be warming him up to in-game action at this pace. They even highlighted it during the game. Mike Tirico actually was talking over some of the B-roll footage of him practicing back in Scottsdale, Arizona, where he went home to rehab. Maybe he's
yeah.
still just a little bit injured. Maybe he's going to be better and fully healthy next week. But the point is, Isaiah Likely will likely be top 10.
Oh, so
Hold on,
bad.
let me say it. I'll say it with my chest out. Isaiah Likely will be top 12 in tight end this year. Mark my words.
Yeah, Doug.
Well, you say duh, but like this is a guy that wasn't even
No.
drafted
I
by
was saying
everyone.
dog. I said dog.
Oh,
Because
okay.
dog, like yes, like absolutely.
Okay.
It is a. I don't know if he's like I don't know if there's an owner, and I don't know how rostered he is, to be honest.
I
I
got
don't know
him
if
in
the
like
owner
4
in your
leagues.
league is like just gonna think this is a crapshoot. This is a one off. It's not. We've seen when he's involved, he's great. So they're clearly involving him. I think you're right, Wes. I think he was in a spot where, um, like a few weeks ago, he was in a car accident and he was like he was fine. Like I don't know
That's
if many
right.
people heard about this. He was fine, but he like didn't practice
Mark
for a few days on
Andrews.
just like on an undisclosed injury, and like it wasn't like a big deal. But I truly am wondering. I'm like maybe he isn't. Maybe he's not 100%. I don't know how much of it is lingering from the injury last season because he came back and didn't play a full snap count, but he came back and played in the playoffs last year. So like we saw him at game speed last year. Um, but I don't know. Yeah, hold strong. I mean, yeah, you don't want to overreact too hard to week 1, but it's safe to say Isaiah Likely's gonna be very involved, and yeah, Andrew should be fine. You should be all right. We should be good. Wishful thinking. I hope we're
Mm-hmm.
okay. Please save me. I'm drowning.
We'll see.
Anyway, all right. That's it for Thursday Night Football recap. Let's jump over into a personal favorite segment, Wes, Studs and Duds. And
Yeah.
we're back
Cool.
with an extended Studs and Duds this season for you guys. Like I said, we're giving you a stud and a dud from each position skill group in your fantasy football lineup. We're giving you a stud and dud for quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. I'm going to take the quarterbacks. Wes is going to take the running backs. Come back to me with the wide receivers. Dish it out to him to close out with the tight ends. It's going to be a blast. And my quarterback stud for week 1. Get this guy in your lineup if you can, and he's on most waiver wires. It's Jared Goff going up against the LA Rams. Listen, there's a few things. There's few things that are certain in fantasy football. A lot of uncertainty. But one thing that is certain is Jared Goff playing at home. My goodness, he's been averaging 21 fantasy points a game in games at Ford Field in Detroit over the last 2 seasons. And he gets to have his home opener in week 1 in a revenge game against the LA Rams. And if there's one thing that is also certain about fantasy football, is that Dan Campbell loves himself a revenge game. See week 4 David Montgomery last year against his old rivals, the Green Bay Packers, scoring 3 rushing touchdowns and just getting 30-something carries, toting the rock. That's my Jared Goff, I believe, is gonna outperform his projection pretty easily this week. I don't know how many of you are in positions to be able to start him, but if you maybe drafted Jaden Daniels and you're a little worried about the rookie in week 1, Goff is a very safe play, and I'll go out on a limb and say that he needs to be rostered. Even if you got a surefire guy, you should roster Jared Goff. He's got a great schedule this season for fantasy. A lot of games inside in domes as well, so it'll be fun. Any comments, concerns, questions?
No, I'm in agreement. I think both, actually, him and Stafford are both going to be great this week.
I agree. Let's jump to my dud, because the quarterback dud of this week, and this is a guy that was drafted by a handful of people, and I don't think he should be in your lineups. It's Brock Purdy. He's going up against the second best pass defense in 2023, and they allowed just 12.1 points per game to quarterbacks last season. The New York Jets did, who he's playing on Monday night. And listen, I'm not like super worried about the long-term effectiveness of this offense, but there were like some key players out this whole offseason. If you missed that, if you weren't paying attention, the starting running back didn't participate in the preseason. The arguably the top wide receiver for the team now, if you want to consider him the top wide receiver, Ayuk over Debo, was holding out for a contract, so he wasn't really involved. And the potentially most important player in the entire offense, Trent Williams, has not been practicing. He was holding out for more money as well. I am not confident in Brock Purdy in week 1 against the New York Jets. I think this offense is going to take a little time to gel, to get him back up to speed. Everything's going to be fine later on. But I think if you got Brock Purdy and you drafted him, go check for Jared Goff's on your wire. And yeah, I think those are going to be quarterback stud, Jared Goff, and a quarterback dud, Brock Purdy, for week 1.
Good points. Good points all around. I'm excited for that Monday night game. All right, I'm going to transition to the running backs here, studs and duds. Some people need to know, should I start this guy? Obviously, you should start Bijan Robinson, but I'm going to give you someone else that you can also start some flex options as well. I'm not going to say slot them into your running back position, but let me start here. My stud, I'm going to roll out Zamir White. He is the starting running back for certain. Alexander Mattison is the backup. I don't see a lot of stolen carries from Mattison, especially when once Zamir White was the starter for the Raiders, the fewest carries he had was 17. That's a cowbell if I've ever heard one moo. That dude is going to go like crazy, especially against the Chargers, which they destroyed on that Thursday night game, 63 to like -5. I think it's going to be great for Zamir White. If you want to roll someone out, it's going to get double digits. He had double digits every week, every single week once he took over the starting role after Josh Jacobs got hurt. Double digits. I like him. I think he's a safe option. Now, my dud is also technically a starting running back, but it's been a little confusing up until now. I'm going to say wait and don't start Rico Dowdle. A lot of hype, a lot of exciting things for him this week or this season. He could be the main guy, could be featured, but he's going against the Cleveland Browns. And I really also feel that this is going to be the CeeDee Lamb show. They've been waiting all offseason for him to arrive. And Ayuk and Jamar Chase, crazy situations, drama, and actually some concern of whether or not things were going to work out. But CeeDee Lamb, it was always going to work out. Jerry Jones was going to fold like an outdoor table and give CeeDee Lamb the bag, and he has. I think Rico Dowdle is not a strong play this week, so start Zamir White instead in your flex option.
Yeah, I'm excited about Dowdle for the season long term, but again, it's another scenario where we need to see how things play out in week 1. Definitely, if he's on your waiver wire right now, go grab him. Like he's definitely worth rostering. I think he's rostered everywhere, but I mean, Wes, in our league that we're in with my uncle, who I don't know if you know him.
I think so.
Dowdle was like on the waiver wire. Dowdle was like, I wouldn't grab him. I was like, oh yeah, no, gosh. I'll definitely go ahead and take you. Sorry, Darnell Mooney, I love you, but I also have Rashee Rice as my 4th.
I feel foolish.
So
I didn't draft him.
I didn't even know what was going on. So yeah, but give a little time for that to shake out, and Zamir White should have that spot locked up. So I like it. Wide receivers. Happy to talk about this guy who we're both very high on, Wes. My wide receiver stud is also in the same game as my quarterback stud, but just on the opposite team. It's Cooper Cup. Cooper Cup is my stud for week 1. I just want to instill some absolute confidence. Listen, I know you guys are going to have him in your lineup if you drafted him. He's going to be there, obviously. It's not like a guy you're considering, you're debating on. He should be in one of your top 2 wide receiver slots. He's in my top wide receiver slot in some of my leagues. No doubt about it. He's going to be an absolute guy for this team because him and Stafford are hanging out again, dude. He's healthy. He's good to go.
Mm-hmm.
He had a 27% target share last year when he was healthy. And listen, Detroit allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to the wide receiver position last year, the 5th most yards per reception to slot wide receivers, which, let me check my notes, Cooper Cup operates out of that slot. So there you go. It's going to be a fun time. Cooper Cup is definitely, listen, this isn't a dig on Puka. I love Puka. I think Puka's still a top 15 wide receiver this year. Cooper Cup's definitely going to take over that wide receiver room again, take back what is rightfully his. He's that dude for this week. So he's my I'm just instilling confidence. Week 1 stud at wide receiver is Cooper Cup.
Good.
I didn't mean to go on like a theme here, but I've got a wide receiver dud who's also in the same game as my quarterback dud.
Oh
And
my
it's because
gosh.
they're on the same team. Brandon Ayuk is my week 1 dud. Listen, I know it sounds crazy. And then you think about these guys that hold out. Well, he didn't have time with the team. Look what happened to Josh Jacobs last year. He held out and then he wasn't efficient. He wasn't good. That won't happen with wide receivers. They're, and I get it. Wide receivers are kind of beasts of their own. They kind of, listen, I don't know how much time they need to condition with the team to be able to go out and shake some dude's ankles and get open for a touchdown. I get it. But the lack of offseason concerns me as far as just the gelling with the team. Jets allowed the fewest fantasy points to wide receivers last year. In fact, they only 5 wide receivers had receiving touchdowns against the Jets. Jalen Waddle, by the way, on a deep touchdown, by the way, without Tyreek Hill in the game, by the way. Anyway, just to get that one out of there. So I just have some concern here in week 1. Again, two great defenses going at it with each other, and I think the running back's going to be heavily involved in these games. And so I'm not super confident. So Brandon Ayuk is, as wild as it sounds, a dud. I just think you need to temper our expectations. If you have an option that you can slot in over him, maybe consider it. But Cooper Cup, no doubt about it, keep him in that lineup. He's a week 1 stud.
It's going to be tough because I think people are going to start Ayuk either way. But if he is a dud, they're going to come back and say, oh, what was that guy that said don't start Ayuk?
Does that dude who work for the Coca-Cola store?
Yeah. Oh. Is he the guy who said Xavier Worthy shouldn't be started? You know what? He might actually be right about a few things.
Just get
No, a mustache. Anyway, yeah. Good points. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how the 49ers do. I think Debo's going to be great, though.
I think Debo's going to
be awesome. So tight
especially
ends.
With Ayuk back. Yeah.
No, yes. Yeah. Tight ends. Most of you who are trying to figure out what to do after Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce. Maybe my stud is a waiver wire ad for you if you're really concerned. Don't be concerned about either of them. But point is, some of you waited on tight end. Some of you weren't wanting to spend the capital on a premier tight end, and you thought, I'll just, Noah's got Jake Ferguson really high. Maybe I'll get Ferguson. Oh, someone took him. Okay, I guess I got Dalton Schultz or Cole Kmet. Who should I start? Well, this week, I think you can probably roll out Hunter Henry. He is my stud for the tight end position because take a look at that Patriots offense. Exactly. They don't exist. It's just Hunter Henry and maybe sometimes Ramondre Stevenson. Now, as much as we love Demario Douglas in the fantasy football community, I like him. I've drafted him in a lot of leagues. I do think he will have some good games. But for the tight end position, we can count on Hunter Henry. Because if Demario Douglas is their best wide receiver, no disrespect. Again, I have him in a lot of leagues. It's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. If he is if he's their best wide receiver, I think Hunter Henry is going to do pretty well. He had 5 games last season as a top 10 tight end. So the potential is there. Roll him out if you really have someone that you ended up that was pretty rough and you don't like the matchups. Now, here's who I think you should not start. Kind of the reason I was worried about Isaiah Likely. I wasn't sure how his role was going to be. Likely did well. Did you hear? So here's my dud for the week. Kylan Granson, Colts tight end.
Oh, okay.
This guy may be the starter. And that's kind of the key for me. He may be the starter. maybe Mo Alley Cox has like this great resurgence and is healthy, and he's been known to have 2 catches for 2 touchdowns as well. So, Mo Alley Cox can actually kind of spoil the red zone opportunities for the Colts. But let's just wait and see. Okay, he's not been the guy. We were wondering if Jelani Woods would be a top 10 tight end. I thought, yeah, he could even be top 7. And then he hurt his toe and he's out for like until December. So maybe a Colts tight end ends up being really great, but let's not put our money on a Colts tight end just yet. Let's see who Richardson likes. Let's see what Richardson's offense looks like with Jonathan Taylor, because that's new together. So there's my dud, and I think instead you should start Hunter Henry if you didn't spend the money on a great tight end.
Dude, I don't know if you saw it when it happened, but like a few weeks ago, after the Jelani Woods news came out that he was going to be out, I went on like a spree of
I did
picking
notice.
up Kylan Granson in a bunch of dynasty leagues. Because dude, I don't know what it is. I was just like, dude, Richardson loves the tight end position, bro. It's these rushing quarterbacks. They love it.
Will.
Lamar Jackson and Isaiah Likely. There you go. Like Granson,
the classic duo.
I think Granson's gonna be relevant at the tight end position. I think there's a chance, and it's not probably saying much because of the tight end position itself, but Kylan Granson could be like a top 15 tight end this season.
I agree. I agree. So I just don't know if week one's where you test it.
Yeah, absolutely. You
definitely test it there. Then you have him, It's kind of like I said about Isaiah Likely. If it works, great. And he's on your bench and you can keep him, sell him, whatever it is. But there's your studs and duds for week 1.
There it is. Extended studs and duds. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We're having a blast. Football's back. Enjoy the game tonight, Friday, and Packers and Eagles going at it in Brazil. And then we'll have a game, a handful of games on Sunday, a Monday night game, and we will catch you guys on Tuesday to recap all of it. It's going to be a blast. Make sure you follow us on all our socials. We're always getting stuff out for you there. Like incredible info to not start Xavier Worthy. God, what life-changing information there we gave to you.
4 opportunities. I'm not bitter
4 opportunities, 2 touchdowns. What a great man.
It's incredible.
By that rate, he's going to have 30-something touchdowns this season. So there you go. He's going to be the best player in NFL history. That's it. Let us know what you guys think. Drop in the comments below. Who is your stud and dud pick for your quarterback position, for your running back, wide receiver, and tight end? And we will catch you next time. My name is Noah Selby.
And I'm Wes Selby.
And we will be back with you now going forward every Tuesday and Friday. 2 episodes a week. We are back in it. Let's have a blast. And we will see you next time. Deuces.
Fourth and Troll Fantasy is a production of FQ Media and Selby Artistic Workshop.